Down, down. Rain keeps falling down. So the people that die and they go to heaven and they're part of the elite, the family members, the ones in the know, I feel like you guys, here's the thing about people on planet Earth. They don't know what happens to them when they die. They really don't. They just, they say things, like they say words as if they believe that they're going to heaven, but I don't really think many people actually truly believe that there is anything. It's just something to say, to kind of, you know, it just feels better to say that. But then there are people that they really don't believe that they're going anywhere else, and that this is it. Maybe this is it. Maybe this is all that there is for them. Maybe it's what you believe is what's going to happen to you. I was just listening to some Greg Laurie, and man, this was like 13 years ago, I think. And you said your son died, and it was only 2 years in. But you know he's in heaven. But then how do you really know that? How do you truly know where your kid is? Anybody that you're just really anybody that, not only just your kid, but your mom, your dad, your brother, your sister, your wife, your husband. Because when people die at the funerals, the main thing that they say is, oh, now he's with the Lord. How do you know that? How do you know he's not in hell with the devil burning? I have a theory. My theory is that people that are in the know, that are part of the elite, the families, the world leaders, the you know, just the people that are famously into religion, and they know that the absolute truth, that when you die, you're really going up to heaven. You're going, because they know that this is actually hell, so there's no other place for you to go besides up. And maybe, I mean, I don't know how it works with people in heaven, but it seems like even if you're from heaven, if the fallen angels actually came down here and mated with women and had Nephilim children, then that barrier from heaven to earth, you've crossed it. But what we've been told, and what I've always believed, was that heaven is it's a spiritual place where when you die, you're now in spirit, and you don't actually have a physical body, but it's more like you're dreaming, but you're in heaven and you're fully awake in your dreamland. But then that ties into like the Matrix, where that may be true all the way through. We may all be incapacitated right now, Because if you think about it, for those of you that have real prominent dreams that you can remember and you can control while you're in your dreams, it's not that hard to believe that, or far-fetched to believe that we're in a matrix and we're all incapacitated in our little bubble. We're in our bubble, and this is hell, and this is the beginning part of life. It's the beginning portion of it. All right, before you go to heaven. So maybe that's the case, maybe it ain't. But if it is the case, the people, so let's just say we're all in heaven right now. Every one of us is in heaven. But we're all incapacitated because from birth, from the legitimate birth, there's something that God takes out of our brain that keeps us incapacitated. Sound ridiculous? All right, well, how about when you're getting surgery done and you're incapacitated? Because if you weren't incapacitated, and let's just say you're getting cut open and you're feeling the knife cut you open and everything, and let's say like they're digging, you know, something out, and then you feel them digging all your, you know, whatever it is that, and they're like sewing stuff together. Can you imagine if you are incapacitated but you still feel you feel the physical pain as you're asleep, but you're awake to the pain. I find it amazing that the doctors, well, just whoever came up with it, that they can put you to sleep, cut you open, you know, pop your head off, and do surgery to sew you back together. You don't feel a thing, and then you wake up. Yeah, you're going to be in some pain, but they have pain medicine for that. You're going to be sore, but they can literally take you. They can do something. There's something with this liquid that they shoot in you through a needle that targets a certain spot that they know about in order to incapacitate you. Then, but you're only incapacitated for a certain amount of time until it's time to wake up after your surgery. So if they didn't have that medicine and you had to get surgeries done, can you imagine? If that miracle drug wasn't out there to put you to sleep, it not only puts you to sleep, but it has to numb. It doesn't numb you, but it takes you out of your mind completely. Did anybody ever think of this? Because I'm relating it to, we're all in a bubble right now, up in heaven, and this land isn't even real, but it feels real because we're in it. Just like your dreams, there's times where whatever you're doing in your dream, it feels real. You could have swore that it's so real, but then you wake up from your dream and maybe you're having a good dream and it's like, oh man, I'm here. Or you're having a nightmare and you wake up and you're like, oh, thank God I'm not in jail again. Like, I hate those dreams, nightmares. So we could all be in a different place right now, and this is our life. Everybody has the same thing. We all start out like this. And it's God's plan to put us through this before we live the rest of our lives in eternity in heaven with And, oh, and these are our avatars too. We don't have perfect bodies and faces and builds and, you know, structures and all that while we're here in this pretend world. And so when we die, we just get straight unplugged. We wake up, our eyes wake up, we pop out of the bubble, and God's like, hey, greetings. You didn't think I was real, huh? And I'll be like, well, I mean, I knew you were real. I just didn't know you were a physical being. I thought, you know, it's just a spirit. Now I know. So what if that's the case? You think it's impossible? I don't think it's impossible. I did at first. I thought before watching The Matrix, like, this stupid-ass show. But I don't think it's so stupid anymore. Because we could possibly be in a second dimension our entire lives. Because let me ask you a question. What were you doing when you were 1 year old? Can you remember? How about 6 months old? Can you remember what you were doing? Do you remember seeing anything? How about 3 months? What were you doing? How about 2 years old? Can you even remember being 3 years old? I don't. So what about right from birth? What were you doing? And then, but you have parents, and your parents will tell you, no, you were born normal. You know what you're talking about? Yeah, well, but in the Matrix, you're not supposed to know that you are in a Matrix from your birth. You don't know that. And it always starts at the very beginning, where you're born, you're developing. All right, so here, I'm like this. I'm in my Matrix bubble. I'm moving my hands around right now. There's no wires in the way, so it's not like but it's because I'm paralyzed until I die. And then once I die, I finally wake up, step out of the bubble that's filled with the liquid, and then open up the door, and there's heaven. Because it's either that or this is a real world, and when you die, one or two options. You either wake up, sort of like, it's still technically, you know, it's still a Matrix type. It's just, I'm trying to give you some details as to what it could possibly be in a physical form, where it's a literal place that's up there. It's literally up there. And this is just a make-believe world. And then when you wake up and you're in heaven, well, before I get to the other two options, you wake up, you're in heaven. If you want to see and talk to your family members down here, once you're in heaven, you can't let them know who you are, and you have to put on a mask or something. But you can still tap in to us through the YouTube platform. But you can't physically see us on Earth. And that's how I feel like a bunch of YouTube channels, like Inky and Enlil, you're not actually on Earth, are you? You're not actually here, right? Maybe Marduk is, but I don't think you guys really come down here. I think you just hop into a flesh suit that looks like us and push record and speak. Because remember, Derek Bro said, after I was on his show and I was searching for Inky and Enlil and Enoch and Elijah, and he said, I've discovered some very realistic things. Now, he didn't elaborate on that. And he is a Hollywood producer, according to what's on record. And So if I found some very realistic things, it means... What the hell is that? What is that? Do you see that? What is that? Is that a laser? Why is there two of them now? What the hell's going on here? What the fuck? Alrighty then. If he's saying I found some I've discovered some very realistic things, it means a lot of the things that I say that sound so ridiculous are actually true. Huh. But I don't truly know how true they are. And that's why I do the hot or cold thing. I don't understand what's going on here. Is it a glitch in the Matrix? Here, let me. Jacob Israel, you're not on planet Earth. You're not here. I don't believe you are here, not one bit. And I don't believe that's what you look like at all. But it's just what I believe to be true. So when I say these ridiculous things, but yet people of renown, like men of renown, can back what I'm saying to be very realistic, well then it must be either close, because what I'll do is I'll throw things up. I'll do multiple choice. It's kind of like the lottery. I'm gonna just start doing multiple choice, and because if you do multiple choice and you hit, well, you get credit for hitting it. It's like multiple choice. Well, who's Enki? Who's Enlil? Who's the beast, the false prophet? Who's the dragon? And when I throw names out there, like, well, Steve Benoon, Jacob Israel's in the mix somewhere. But I don't know, Jacob. The one thing that I know, I'm getting off track, and I'll probably forget to get back on track with my topic, but before I forget of these things, and they've been on my mind, and I push record, and then it's like, things flow out. The reason why I'm having a tough time believing that you're Elon Musk, even though you talk about it all the time and you point at yourself, but you're not the only one that does that, is because it was kind of telling in your last show, because I never really like sit there and go through the live stream and listen and type away at things, but man, you must have told people to hit that like button out of the 5 minutes. I think you said it 75 times, and you didn't just say like hit the like, you said smash the like. Come on everybody, do me a favor, help me out, you gotta push that like button. And you really wanted to get to 1,000 likes, and that reminds me of 1,000 of the Lords. And it just reminds me of somebody that, if you're Elon, number one, if you're Elon Musk, you don't need likes, because I mean you don't need money. Like, you just don't need it. And who cares if people like you or not? Yeah, like, why would you care? But in order to get 1,000 likes, that reminds me of the story of Belshazzar. And then it's like, is your father King Nebuchadnezzar? Like Stephen James Sean? Are you really his son? And you're supposed to turn 33, and because you just seem like you have a younger heart. Not right, wrong, bad, indifferent, just a younger. So when you're asking people to hit the like so much, I don't hit the like. I mean, I'm just telling you straight up. I don't ever hit like buttons. I don't like videos. I do timestamps. I don't do likes. I mean, I have, but rarely. Sometimes. But the psychology is the more you ask to hit the like button, the more I'm not going to hit it. So if you say, hit the like or don't, maybe I will. Maybe I will. Maybe that's why Richie says or don't. Because he gives you the option. You hit the like button or don't. I don't care. Even though he cares. But there's still that option of I don't care if you hit the like or not. So I'm struggling with this thought of who you really are. What is your role, Jacob? You're a writer. You have the actual Super Bowl score. You're damn sure in the know of the things in the world because you write scripts. When you write it for WWE, you're going to write it for MLB, you're going to write it for the NFL, you're going to write it for all those alphabet soups. You're going to write the scripts. You're going to be a part of it. You are rich as hell. There's no way that you need money. But if you're playing the Judas role, you just may want more money and likes. Because why do you want the likes? Because if you get more likes, you're going to get more views. You get more views, you get more revenue. So you get more money. But for the life of me, I don't believe that you need money. But if you're looking to get more, well then what is that? Where's your heart at? And then with all that money that you have, do you help people that are in need of it, or do you just let it accumulate? Because I remember when I talked about you before, and I said, I think Jacob Israel gets paid by Derek Bros. And then you commented on my channel, you're like, how dare you? You should be ashamed of yourself, Robin. I was kind to you all those years, and I don't remember you being kind to me. Unless you're somebody else behind a different mask name or something. I don't know. So either way, something's not lining up. And maybe you're just playing the role where you're pretending you need likes. I mean, absolutely, you're acting like you don't have money, and you need us to support you. But nah, you had the exact Super Bowl score. You had the exact Super Bowl score, 35-35 split, right down the middle, 30 deep. In the red zone. You knew exactly what was going to happen in the Super Bowl, which means you could easily put $1 billion on that, or whatever. You could have borrowed $1 million off somebody, because you have the ability to do that. And you're like, yeah, I know that. Can I borrow $1 million? I'll give it right back to you. Promise me. Watch it. And then, so next year with the Super Bowl, it's the same thing. You can do the same thing, and maybe that's what I have to wait for next year if I don't hit the Powerball anytime soon. Maybe somebody's going to give me the numbers. Maybe somebody already did, and I just have to play them. Maybe somebody already gave me the numbers. But it's going to pertain to me, so it would only work if it's like my numbers, like something that lines up with me. So, I don't think that you are who you say you are. And then, anyway, so back to the Matrix bubble and being incapacitated with surgeries. And did you ever think of that? Do you people ever think? Well, it is unusual because let's say you're getting, I don't know, open heart surgery. Or let's say you're getting your heart replacement or something. They got to cut you completely open. They got to stab you, slice you open. and suck the blood out because it's going to, you know, squirt everywhere. They cut you open, and they start digging inside of your body. Just think about cutting your fingernail, like a splinter on your nail. It's like, God, can you imagine in life? And then you're awake, but you're not, like, right? What the hell is going on with this? Do you see that? It's not in front of me. I mean, I don't understand. It's kind of freaking me out a little bit. Would you think twice about getting a surgery if you had to stay awake and feel all the pain? Would you do that surgery? Hell no, of course you wouldn't. You would just die. But it's like a miracle that there's some kind of liquid. And what did they mix in the liquid? How do they know to do this? They mix some kind of liquid stuff and it shoots you through a needle, and then it knocks you out. Or you take the gas mask. Even with the gas mask, you just straight go into another dimension where you have to have left your body. If you didn't leave your body, you would feel the pain. So it's something like that. I think it's something like that from birth, where we all have to go through this first. And the elite and the fallen angels, they're the ones that know that truth. And they're not telling us, but they're kind of telling me, and I got to kind of like sift through the spirit and the deception and everything and kind of try to give a book report on the reality of our lives and why we're even here with this suffering on earth and all that stuff. Because people ask, like, why would God allow all the suffering to happen? Well, because He has a better plan for your life when you're dead. And then you finally wake up and you live this is just the beginning, is what I'm trying to tell you. This is the suffering part of living in hell from birth. And you don't actually get to go to heaven and enjoy your actual physical life until you die and get unplugged and wake up. So maybe that's what it is. And it's His plan to incapacitate us from the beginning, which basically it's like, you're birthed, okay, put the gas mask on them, and then your gas mask. And then you grow up, your body, it's perfect, you have a perfect body, you're never going to die, you're never going to feel pain again. And, you know, you're neither male nor female, but you're perfectly built, and you still have your sensations, because if you didn't, that's kind of like being in hell. You know, like the people that chopped their tree off and uprooted twice, plucked up, because you're to be a eunuch. But the thing is, the ones that told you to do that, they lied to you, because what they did was they showed you, look, I don't have anything. And it's like, oh, all right, well, but yet it's inside of the belly, and they lied to you, and they got you to do that thing, and it's like, now it's hell because you don't ever have that pleasure. So that's more like hell. And then you think, well, heaven is, it's spirit. You don't have feelings like that. Are you sure? Because if you don't, it's kind of like hell. I mean, you know, there's something about the extra boost of energy that you get, right? That Satan is trying to steal from you, or make you feel guilty about it. This is what we're born with. So I believe, regardless, the elite know the truth, and that's why some people on YouTube are they're just so thrilled to death and happy. It's almost sickening, because you know their lives is so great, but it's because they're hiding the truth. And maybe they're rich as hell and they're acting like they're not. And then that goes back to being rich and in need of nothing when you're really poor and miserable and naked. That's why when I hit the lottery, it's something that God knows that what I'm going to do in my life and what I'm going to do with the ability to have those funds is to help other people. I'm not going to be selfish, because I'm not selfish as it is. I don't even make any money doing this. I just know that it needs to be said because it's revelations. There's constant revelations. I think we're in the book of Revelation. And so the people that say, like, you know, you want to make friendship with the world, of course I do. Of course. God so loved the whole world, He gave His only begotten Son. So when you're in the world, this world here, not the way that the system is, because Christ said He's not from this world. He's of this earth, but not from the world. And the world is a system. This world is coming to an end. The system is coming to an end. The greed, the selfishness of the money, and not sharing. So when I have the ability for the funds to come in my hands, I get to share it with people that need it to start with. Which means there's rich, spoiled, elite children who never had a bad day in their life because they've always been rich. They've always had access to anything that they want. When they turn 16, their mommy and daddy buys them a brand new white Ferrari. And they don't appreciate it. They want more. They're never satisfied. So when I get something like that, I'm going to be grateful. I am going to thoroughly appreciate that white Ferrari. And I'm going to drive it all around with my checkbook from the money that I've accumulated by loving my enemies. Hey, Robin, how did you become successful? I took a lot of abuse from a bunch of demons, and I loved them anyway, you know, just after time, and I showed some secrets that they were hiding, and they couldn't resist it anymore, and they finally just had to give me the Powerball number because I deserve it. That's how. So when I get it, everything's going to be appreciated because I came from nothing. That's how that works. And that's the exact reason why God plans this world here for us to live in at first. When people are complaining about, you know, I'm one of them. Why does God allow this to happen? Why does He let Satan rule the world? Why does He do this down here? Why does He just let things go? Well, because He has to come down here Himself and fix it. But first, can you imagine the people up in heaven that are running stuff, all His workers and everything, and He's like, God's like, all right, enough, Satan, your time's up. I'm going in. So the doctors in heaven, when God was ready to come down here, they put God on the table. They pulled out like the piece that, and then put that portion. Well, first you have to have a baby you have to have a body first. And then so you have a, like a clone or whatever. You have a clone body, and that clone body is going to be a human being. And at a certain point, maybe the kid's like, after it's born, maybe it's born. And then what they do is they cut his head, and they pop the head off, and then they put the thing in there, and then it's like a computer chip. And what they do is they take away the memory. He's still God, but they have to take away his memory so he doesn't know that he's God. And then he grows up just a regular child, and he grows up, and then things start clicking in place, and then eventually figures stuff out, and then starts coming back into memory of who he is and the power that he has, and he realized, oh, be still, right, at 8:48 a.m., because that's what Obama was trying to tell me. And then once he finally conquers that, I don't know, I guess he gets to go back up to heaven and live as the king back into his body that's laying on the table, incapacitated right now. And then his full memory comes back into play once they plug him back in. But he would have to trust the people that are there that are going to do that thing, and then for however many years he lives on Earth, he doesn't know who he is, and then he finally remembers. But the plan is, first things first, you have to live here in the valley of the shadow of death. You have to struggle and go through things in order to really appreciate heaven. So let's just say that there is no hell besides this planet right here. And you have your Enki and Enlil on each side of the Vesica Pisces, whether one of them is up and one of them is a little bit lower, or they're both circles above Earth, or it's two circles and then it's just what's in the where these two circles cross over, that football. I don't understand what this thing is and why it's there, because it's not like there's a light. And then this is planet Earth. This is the birthing place. This is where everybody's birthed first in your mind, if it's just a matrix. And then let's say now let's go to a physical land. It's a literal land. There is no matrix. The only matrix is the YouTube platform, and people from Enkis or Enlils, it's YouTube. It's an internet. They act like they live here on Earth when they don't. They act like they're poor when they don't need anything. They're in a land that's straight. You see the asphalt, right? It's dark, it's black. In their land, it's clear, it's golden, it's translucent, it's perfect, it's beautiful. Everywhere you go, you just see everything. Like, you see planet Earth from a distance if you're in that other land above, different planets and stuff. You have your own star. It's like your own planet, island type thing, floating somehow. And you just get to see forever. But down here, we're in a pit. You have to look up, move to a mountaintop place. Maybe you can see for a few miles in each direction or so. But you have to start out here first. But then how do you get there? How do you get transferred from this place here to a literal physical place where people have already died, and the heaven land is actually a physical land? And angels from heaven their feet are planted on this ground right now, but their bodies are light beings. It's like, you want to come down here and mingle with the people, you got to put on your bodysuit, because if you don't, you're going to look very unusual to people, and you're going to look obvious that you're an angel, because you're just lit up, a light being. And the truth is, you don't drift off in spirit when you die. You physically go to another realm that's a land that's actually right above us. And your loved ones are already there. Which goes back to when I was talking about people that die in your family and you're an elite. And maybe you can't see them just yet if they're not allowed to come here, but you know they're there. You really know that they're there. And the only thing is you just miss them. But you know you're going to see them again because you know it's a fact. You know, us human beings down here that are birthed for the first time, or if there is maybe everybody died. Maybe this is death. I think this probably is hell. I think I was born. Maybe I was born here, and everybody has died before, and they're just not telling me. And then they come back because it sounds so ridiculous when Stephen James would say that, but it doesn't sound that ridiculous anymore. Because how do you come back? Well, they plug you in to another body. Or it's even a clone body, just like you. Once you die, you have the option to, you don't believe that there's a heaven, so Satan tricks you into staying back into your body and being down here and being his servant and putting that thing in your ear. Maybe that body already has the speaker system set up and all they got to do is just pop you out. So what they do is they surgically cut your pineal gland out or something, or maybe you really are born with a computer chip and designed by the DNA. Because if you think about it, all right, so you have a computer chip. It's just a chip. But it starts with liquid through the sperm, and then once you're birthed, because look, you have a skull, right? A hard head, you have bones, solid. This is all we grow into it, so it's not far-fetched to believe that. So you have white bones underneath your skull and a computer chip that's in the DNA that is birthed into the liquid, and then you grow up, and that's how, when you are developed, you have your chip, which is your memory. And then just like clockwork, people are just, they die, do the surgery, they pop that thing out, plug you right into your new body in heaven. But before that happens, Satan comes to you, and maybe he threatens you and says you're going to go to hell and burn if you don't, agree with what be my gang stalking commander. And you're like, all right. And then you get tricked, and you get suckered into coming back down here to this hellhole instead of going to heaven. And you only have to wait 3 days, but Satan's going to lie to you and make you think you're going to be burning in forever and eternity. Remember, very realistic things, Robin. You've discovered some very realistic things. I gotta tell you, I don't know how you did it, but there are some very realistic things. I'm not going to elaborate on how realistic they are, but just understand that they are. From a Hollywood producer, a movie writer, maker. These are all movie makers. Stephen James. I think you're probably the king of the earth. That you may be King David. It's just because you say you're King David. So you're not. You're a freaking lying devil. Saying that my father is the devil. like your father. Robin, he's a liar, like his father, the devil. Oh. Alright, well. We'll see. We'll see. It's like, do you love me, Peter? Well, then feed my sheep. Do you love me, Peter? Well, then give me the damn Powerball number so my sheep can be fed. Or to Paul or Peter or whoever has the damn Powerball numbers. All of yous. Because what makes the world go round? Money. Money. There you go. backing up just because I'm driving by. It's an amazing thing. So for the rich elite that don't appreciate life, I think you should have your money taken from you. I think the system should be set up back to zeros. The entire system should be set up to zeros. And then you're not going to be able to buy or sell without the mark or the number, the gematria number of the name of the beast that was identified by Abaddon, the angel, the bottom's pit. You know, Jonathan Click makes a good case for it because he really does do a lot of information and stuff, but then again, he reminds me of Aaron, and Stephen James reminds me of Moses, but so does Steve Ben-Nun. But it's who struck the rock. Did Steve Ben-Nun strike the rock, or did Stephen James strike the rock? And then did he have Aaron do all the talking? Because let's face it, Stephen James does like couple-minute videos and doesn't really do much talking and doesn't even really like to do videos. I'm the one that got him to do videos. He even said he wasn't going to do videos about anymore, but I know how to put the bait out there and fish and get him to bite. Keep, because he's not going to stop making videos about me only. Stephen James and Sean, the top Luciferian in the United States of America, the top guy for the past 5 years. If he did 500 videos, 497 of them were about me, slandering my name, just tricking people. And then I don't know if he is actually General Titus, but it seems like it. But I thought, well, maybe that's Steven, maybe that's Kleck over there. But because what he's doing is he's acting, and he's going to get yous back. He's going to get yous. Yous are all going to be gotten. Why is that on my face? What is that? Am I being attacked by aliens? You see that? I wonder if it's just on my... If it's just on the little dots. If it's just what I'm looking at, and it's not going to be shown in the recording. Because David, King David, well, he's in charge of the earth. And then, but the seed of the... See, Christ is going to come from the seed of David. Is that the literal seed or spirit? Or is it both? And then, with Jonathan Click doing all the talking like Aaron for Moses, it just lines up. It lines up with that. And then that also lines up with the first beast and the second beast, which means the dragon is the one that gave Steve his power. So then wouldn't that dragon be Steve Ben-Nun? Or is it Greg Laurie? Because again, just the simple fact that I got the names. I might have you... Look, I got the names. You may all be the same people, who knows? But at least I got the names. And I know who commanded that person right there to back up. I know who did it. His name's Stephen James. Because it's like they don't even need to go anywhere. They're on command to go because I'm driving by. And who am I? I'm just a false prophet, liar, right? Alien robotoid, tranny. So, just the fact that I have the people's names, you may have to juxtaposition. Gene Revel, I am that I am, the Holy Gene. Gene Simmons, He's in my family portrait. Gene. Kim Gene? Gene Kim. Gene Rebel. Gene. Stephen James. Gene. So with the elite knowing the truth about life after death, wouldn't that be nice to know that, like, wouldn't it be nice to, let's say, not nice that somebody died, but let's just say I was able to talk to my dad, that my dad on Earth, William Hugh Tees. And let's just say that I got a conference call where God allowed me to see my dad just for one moment, just to, like, you're in heaven and it looks like you, but you have a perfect face and everything, and you're just letting me know that heaven is real and can't wait to see it. Like something, just a minute conference call. You know how much faith that would help give a person to absolutely know that, to know, not just believe and have faith and think, but to truly know that when you die, and they like, my dad's like, here, Rob, look, let me just show you, let me give you a little glimpse, and then he shows like the heavens, like, oh man, it's so awesome, I can't wait. And then you truly know that the heaven is real, and it's more of a, you don't drift off in the spirit. It's actually a physical place that is there right now, and they're looking down, watching us right now, like through the videos. And when they wake up in the morning, or it's always morning, or they don't ever sleep, do they? Do you even need to sleep? I mean, I don't know how that works, but maybe you like to just rest anyway. And you just get to see the entire earth, and it's just it's a way of, I don't know, I mean, if I was God, I would give people a little glimpse just so they know that it's real. And it's not a drift off in the spirit world. You actually are physically going to go to a higher ground when you get out of this body. But how do they do it? Well, if it's not unplugging you from the matrix, then it has to be, like I said, they just take a very small portion of your memory box, your brain chip, because that's your soul, that's who you are. And then that soul is just placed into your perfect body, just like that. As soon as you die, they take you out. You know how you go to the morgue, and if you have an open casket funeral, all they do is patch you up and take that portion out. It may not even be you. It may just be a you know how, like a mold, how I made a mold for the hoods. It may just be a mold of someone, and the elite, they just use your body and they they chop it up in certain sections and sell it to the grocery stores and stuff. and you know, they just use your bones and things for dogs to chew on, and I'm sure they utilize every single part of your flesh bag when you get out of here and when you go up. So they just take that little portion. It's like the AI machines that are just set up as an assembly line. When people die, it's like takes it, takes it out, puts it in. You go up, one after another, after another, after another, and it's just a common thing. But nobody's telling you this. So I'm trying to figure these things out from what these ridiculous things that it sounds like they're ridiculous that I'm saying, but in all likelihood they're true. I'm just trying to figure out how exactly in detail. That way you people can understand that there really is another place besides living here in the flesh. This is just the beginning. It sucks. You know, you got to work for a living. For those of you that have to work for a living, I'm trying to stop that too. That way you don't actually have to work for a living. Things can be lessened, eased up. But the greed has to stop, and Stephen James is the key for doing that, because he's been lying about me for 5 years. At some point it stops, because he wouldn't continually spend his time wasting time about specifically me acting like he's a poor suffering servant when he's not even on this planet. So think about that one. For those of you that have eyes to see and ears to hear, you know damn well Stephen James is like the king. He's been given authority from the dragon. And the dragon may be a physical person, or it may just be the spirit, like how Christ came in the authority of God, but no physical person actually is like, hey, I'm God. I'm your father, Robin, or whoever you are. I'm your father, and you're going to do this for me, and you're going to come in my name, and you're going to be, persecuted, and they're going to nail you to the cross and all that good stuff. So I'm going to neglect you your entire life, but you're going to do this for me, and then you're going to go to heaven when you're done. So maybe he has his power from the dragon, which is just the spirit of Satan, or he really does have his authority, because remember, Vicar of Lucifer, right, was given his authority from the Vatican. Who's the Vatican? Who's Queen Elizabeth? Well, I thought that maybe Steve Ben-Nun is, and he's the one that has all the authority. Either way, one of you have all the authority, and I've already named you. It's just I juxtapositions, and I change my mind here and there, and say things. And the reason why I leave Derek Bros out is because he's not up making videos. So it just seems like I can only go by what I'm doing right now in my life and what people are in my life in the hidden spiritual invisible world that I talk about. At some point it'll manifest. I don't have to worry. I mean, I don't worry about people's thoughts in the meantime, no matter who you are, family members or not, friends, co-workers, that you hear me and it sounds ridiculous, but I'm doing it for all of us. So at some point you'll understand. When we're all in a close area and everybody has their dream world, it's because I created it for you. Because I created it for myself, and therefore I'm going to give it to other people. And that's why it sickens me to death when people are so rich and filthy and just disgusting that not regular people on the earth, but on YouTube specifically, and they don't really care about you. And they don't want to share their money. Although they will with their family or friends or whatever. But the regular world is just, you don't want to help them, do you? And why do I even care? Everybody gang stalks me. Everybody gang stalks me when I drive around and wherever I go. But I still want them to be free, because I can't stand that they're doing it and it's so pointless that it needs to stop. So I can help ease their suffering on earth until they either A, go to heaven, or B, don't exist anymore. So there's that.